Well, we bent an axle somewhere between California and Oregon on the 101/1. There's some pretty bad spots where there's some pretty bad upheavals. These axles are 5,100 pound axles, and I'm going to change them out with 6,000 pounds. Now, I would have went with the 7, but the only difference between the heavy duty 6,000 and the 7,000 pound are the hubs. They're a little bit bigger. I believe the brakes are a little wider on them or something like that. The outside races are the same. One of the bearings are the same as the 7,000, and one of them is a little different. I think maybe the taper's a little bit different, but anyhow, so that's what we're going to do. This one here, the axle tube is 300 thousandths, so it's just under 5/16. Okay, so we're going to jack it up, take the tires off, and go from there. Now, you can see how this tire is wore here. It's fairly almost like new here, and it's gone here. This is the third tire that I had on here. Okay, I had somebody look at it, and they said they doubted the axle was bent, so I replaced all the bushings and all that kind of stuff. And then once I got everything straightened up bushing wise, this wheel from here to here is off about 1 inch over here. So I know this one here is bent back this way, because from the top to the bottom it's about the same distance here. The other side is even. Okay. Bought a couple of these dollies. I'm going to put a little bit of cardboard on them, so when I drop these axles down on there, they're not going to slip around with the cardboard. These are the 1,500 pound dollies from Harbor Freight. They were about $65 plus tax. Now, as you can see, the axle has a curve to it. That's the way they come from the factory. That's so when the trailer is loaded, the tires sit square on the ground when the tube starts bending down from the weight. So I don't want that to be flipping around when I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of tie wraps if I can. If it's going to get underneath there, I don't know. Okay. Okay, I put the tie wrap on there just so this thing doesn't roll around on me when I'm pulling it out. Okay, and I brought up a little bit just to get some of the weight off of it, and then I'm gonna cut these brake wires here and on the other side to leave me enough room to work with this stuff here. Okay, the other one's got some longer pigtails on it. I don't like it that these things are so tight here. Okay, so I'm going to get something to cut those off. Okay, I'm not sure this because that's the way it is. But we'll come up here, so we don't want to work with that. I'm going to lose so much. No, I have just enough pressure on the jack to pull this up against the pull the U-bolt and then put it on the car. Just wait a second, get the tie wrap on there, just to place it. I'll put it on that. Put it back on. I'll put this up. There's a little tag on here. There's all 70 some pounds on it. We'll go through and get it off. 'em. I put the nut back on a little bit, and then I just tap them down with the handle of the ratchet. You can use a little hammer if you want. I'm not hitting it hard, just a little tap, 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 tap. .99 foot-pounds. That's what those got to be torqued to. That's what I'm pulling off right there, is those 4 nuts, and then I tap them down a little bit so the U-joint or the U-bolt will pop off of there. Did not have problems on the road, or just and I did put a little blue lock on it. Lock type 242, use 243, what I do is one paper on paper. Use oil, I guess. Use one of blue lock type, and with the medium duty. Okay, everything's loose. Okay, it pulls back a little bit so it'll clear the spring. Pull that one back. I got my little wedge underneath there. Okay, my dolly's caught on the crack here, so we gotta push the dolly and not that other piece there for now. Okay. Okay, a couple things. You see the hole in the top of the landing where the spring goes right here. That's going to line up with this stub down here, right here. So we're going to do it the same way. We're going to put a little tie wrap on there just to help us balance it. And then we're going to lift it up and just get enough pressure on it to hold it in place. And then we'll get our U-bolts up. Okay, again, I just put this tie wrap on there to keep it between the cogs on this floor jack. Okay. Now, when I ordered these axles from Dexter, I got the serial number. In fact, it's on here now. I see it right here. So we got it in there right. These should be towards the back. But I used the original part number off the original axle when I called Dexter. And they built this axle to the other one's prints as far as what was on there, hub-wise, bearing-wise, yada, yada, yada. So that's what we got. So the only thing difference is this is a lot heavier tube. The one that was on here was 188 thousandths, just under just over 3/16. Okay, this side here looks like it's pretty close. It might be in there. We'll go check the other side, and then we'll drop the U-joints in. Okay, the other pin's on. This one here is close. But got to bring it up and align it. Okay, just like butter. Okay, I'll bring that up a little bit to get some pressure on there, and then I'll put my bolts on. I like to shake the Loctite up a little bit. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just snugging these up, and then I'll come back and I'll come down easy on them with the torque wrench. Now, I just got them snugged a little bit. And then I'm just going to pop it a little bit just to make sure that just to kind of rattle everything into place. If, you know, if the U-bolts aren't exactly right. I am not hitting on the bolts, I'm hitting on the stop bracket here. Okay, you can hit it back and forth. Everything looks like it's pulled into place and on the pins good. All right, do the other side. Oh, just like butter. If I had to do it over again, I probably would order new U-bolts. They're a little stretch. Of course, I didn't have a screwdriver or a pry bar down here. That might have helped too. Okay. Get a drink of water on my little stool. You can put the clamp on. This really seemed to work pretty good. This is just a quick grip clamp. Okay, you get many different brands, but you can squeeze it together a little bit from the bottom like that, and then she'll go right in without having to hammer it, and then we'll put some nuts on it. Okay. Okay, I got these bolts snugged a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same thing here I did on the other side. I'm just going to tap on this stuff here a little bit just to make sure that it's kind of self-centered or whatever. I just like to do it for another reason. Okay. All right, as far as jacking this thing up, this has a self-leveling system on it. When I back the trailer in, it is on a concrete pad. I leveled it out. It did actually come up where it probably took 3/4 of the weight off of the tires. So then I just have to jack it up enough to get the tires off, and then I do my thing. Some people go, oh, you know, this isn't safe or whatever. You know what? If you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it this way. Okay? As far as jacking the trailer up from the frame, I wouldn't get too far away from where these levelers are. Jacking it up, a trailer with those scissors jack stabilizers, I wouldn't do this at all. I would do something completely different, and I don't even know what. I don't like the idea of jacking up a trailer from way in the back with a jack, because I don't think they're made to take that kind of stress. But whatever you want to do, you can put cribbing underneath here or whatever, but this is good for me. I'm 100% trustworthy in what's going on here. So I'm going to torque these down, and then I'm going to grease my fittings, and then I'm going to take my tires over and get them changed out. All right, one thing, when you're tightening up these U-bolts, bring them down so you got like the same amount of thread on each one. Keep them even as you're going down, and when you torque them, keep working back and forth on these bolts from front to back. Otherwise what you'll do is you'll pull it all the way down on one side and start to really bend the heck out of this U-bolt. So you can take and put the torque wrench on, torque a little bit here, torque a little bit here, then go to the back one, do the same thing. You could start out at 25 pounds or 50 pounds if you wanted. I just kind of I work on machinery a lot and stuff, and so you can kind of feel when you're going down even on them, and check the amount of thread sticking out of the bolt. Okay, so you want to tighten them up evenly. Okay.